There's this notion that there's an old media, a legacy media, that newspapers died, and how television shows and traditional news and their so-called news websites that are essentially blogs, how that's all dying and it's being replaced by the upstart, the new media, the everything internet, the new faces, the new personalities, those styles that that the old media need help with for some reason because they're stupider than a 14-year-old with a crappy laptop's camera. And I think that that's ridiculous. I don't need to talk about something like old media's tendrils being in not just the minds of all the old people that still care, that still are swayed by the value. I'm not talking about old media and its relationship with the business side of things in the business world or in politics. In terms of them becoming a presence in what is the mainstream, what is the public space, uh, the internet. I think that they are resilient enough to survive getting there and getting good. However, however, they are not capable of displacing the idea of the little guy fighting against the man. And one of the things that's catching on is long form commentary. Long form commentary is not just a person chatting about the things that are on their mind. A lot of what people see in the so-called new media is they see a person that they like sitting with an article of some sort in one of the blogs, the news blogs, and they'll read the article and they'll comment on it as they go. And there's this idea that person is just doing it better than the originator, which they are. They are. They're adding to it. They're adding a flavor and personality to it in a way that shouldn't be done by the original entry, because adding that kind of, I mean, there's already spin and personalization in that stuff in the first place, but the personal bias that can be directly and openly inserted just naked by a value adding commentator, that's not possible by, that's not supposed to happen from a major outlet. But that commentary can't ever replace the original because it depends on the original. So essentially what's happening is you have these, they're not parasites to the actual news outlets, but they are dependent upon them. They will not ever replace that. They are not journalists, or at best they are very lazy or very safe journalists. What they at their very best, one of these internet commentators, at their very best, they do the equivalent of something like a meta study, a meta analysis of a whole bunch of different news sources, and compile information and try to get a better picture than any one of those legacy media outlets chooses to do. So you can have somebody that presents a more truthful, a less spun, a more honest or balanced kind of thing, or they can just bias it in their own unique personality, in their own unique way, and that can be entertaining or engaging, and that can bring eyeballs and minds to a particular topic in ways that are just better, more effective in terms of getting attention than the articles themselves. So they do add value, and I think that there is a kind of cooperation between the original outlet and the so-called journalism and the value adding, the commentating of the new media. So I think that there's a bit of a dependence there, but I do think that eventually all of that new media stuff, those people are going to either get bought out or displaced, replaced by old media who do have the resources to hire the right people eventually. And they are slowly dying, but they will get desperate and they will figure it out. The thing is that they're late to the game, and everybody perceives that somebody who's late to the game is just too late to do anything, that there's already, you know, this and that, and they've got millions of people that are subscribed to their channel, and however many 100,000, supposedly 100,000 views, whatever that means, per video. And that's not actually as impressive as people think. That number that you'll get next to, say on YouTube, you'll get number of views, number of votes, number of comments. Number of views is just what, a person viewing it for X number of seconds. Doesn't mean that they've seen it from beginning to end. Doesn't mean that they're actually sitting there watching it like they would for most people for a TV show. It could be in the background. It could be it's on their phone and they're doing something else. It could be they're driving and they're listening to it, or kind of listening to it. It doesn't mean that they saw it all the way through, which is the big thing. So people have this perception that there's this massive sway when there's hundreds of thousands of views on a video, and it's just a meta-analysis, a commentary of some interesting new news thing that's going around. That is a far more potent presentation than the news channel that's got like tens of thousands of subscribers instead of the hundreds of thousands of this other place, and their videos have, you know, tens of thousands of views, and it's an absolute joke, and they have to prop themselves up by getting bias preference by the, say, in YouTube came out with a way of actually paying money to legacy media and manipulating the homepage in order to prefer the approved news outlets and to push them, and YouTube agenda, you know, etc. Alphabet Incorporated, I should say. And it's because of stuff like that that's going to give them advantages, that's going to have old media persist and just inevitably grow stronger. So even though a lot of these companies who they might have been new-ish and they grew up in the clickbaity outrage blogging nonsense world, the old media who were doing newspapers or magazines, they're still around. They're going to come up strong. And this notion of legacy media just dying, that's just wrong.